Hello and welcome to Inderes TV. Today's top story has been that Purmo Group will be listed through a merger to Nasdaq Helsinki. We are at the headquarters of Purmo with the CEO of the company, John Peter Leesi, and the CFO, Erik Hedin. Before we go into the business, we could start about you. What kind of background do you have and history?
Okay. Do you want me to boot it off? Okay. So my name is John Peter Leesi, as you said, and I've had the pleasure to work with the Purmo Group since 14 months back. So I joined the company last summer, and it's been great. Prior to that, I spent a few years with a Swedish stock-listed company called Munters, which is also in the HVAC industry, and I was actually working as a CEO and before that as a chairman of the board. And prior to that, I spent a good 8-9 years as both CEO and later on as chairman of a company called Avaavat, which was formerly a part of Outokumpu. It was originally called Outokumpu Copper.
Yeah.
And prior to this, I spent around 15 years in telecommunications and mobile phones with Ericsson and Sony Ericsson. I am a Swedish national, and I've lived in the United Kingdom for 22 years.
So, a long history in business.
Yes.
What about you, Erik?
Yeah, hi, my name is Erik Hedin, and I joined Purmo Group as the CFO in August last year. Most recently, I worked for Alvarez & Marsal, which is an advisory business, and I worked in the private equity services, where I helped portfolio companies to improve their value creation, and I also had interim assignments. My last role was as interim CFO for a sport data business called Sportradar, where I was for about 1 year. Prior to that, I worked at Luvata HTS. It was one of the divisions within Luvata Group, and I was the divisional CFO, driving strategy implementation and the finance function. All right, interesting history also. Then let's go into the business. In short, what kind of companies Purmo, and what do you do? You start.
Yes, we are a company. We're originally a Finnish company, and our roots they're Finnish. So we're a Finnish company. As you said earlier, we're headquartered in Finland. What we do is that we work with climate solutions for residential applications mainly. We do products like radiators. You see a number of variants of radiators behind us. But we also do embedded systems, and embedded systems are underfloor heating systems, in-wall heating and cooling systems. And we actually can supply and provide the whole chain and the whole system of products, mainly for residential applications.
Yes.
And geography-wise, we are mainly present in Europe, but actually across most countries in Europe. The Nordics only represent a small part of our revenue. And we're mainly an international business, and we have some outlets also in China, US, Brazil, and recently we made an acquisition in Russia.
I presume that China is growing the fastest, or am I right?
Well, these days the growth rates have been quite volatile, but yes, China is for sure one of our growth bets. The second one is Russia, and in both those locations we made acquisitions in Russia and we established a new factory in China.
All right. John Peter, could you give some more details about the market? What kind of size is it? What is driving the market and how fast is growing?
Well, if we look at the overall market drivers, you can start at the very top, which is actually the construction markets. And if we stay in Europe, because it's easier to assess European data, you're looking at a new build market for residential construction in Europe, which is around, big numbers. It's around the 340, 350 billion euros a year, right? And there is also a renovation market, what is called renovation, maintenance, and improvement. And that's even bigger. It's around 440 billion euros. So construction, if you look at what external analysts look at and believe, is that you're going to see growth rates around 3% per annum going forward. Then you can start breaking this down into something that is more addressable for us. But when you do that, you're going to see similar growth rates, somewhere between 2.5% to 3.5% in residential climate systems and climate products, mainly then in Europe, right? So around 2.5 to 3.5 percentage points in growth going forward.
Is your target to grow faster than that?
Absolutely. So I was going to say that that's the fundamental market, but our niche is we provide sustainable solutions for indoor comfort climate. And these days, I think what COVID taught us and the market, that people are willing and interested in upgrading their homes, because we see our homes differently these days. And that creates opportunities for us to grow with our products perhaps faster than the overall construction market. And in addition, our solutions can create more value, create more sustainable offerings, smarter products, more aesthetic products that can also enable us to grow slightly faster than the construction market.
Yes. How fragmented the market is right now and how big player you are?
Yes, if we split it into how we are organized, but also how we provide products in terms of supply, we have the radiator business. And in the radiator business, it's more concentrated than the other business, being the indoor climate systems. But in that space, we have around 16% market share, and we are the global leader when it comes to emitters of the type of radiators that you can see around it. So there we are, number one. If you look at the indoor climate systems, which is embedded systems like underfloor heating and so on, we sometimes call it radiant heating and cooling. In that space, we have a market share somewhere around 7%, and we're number 4 in that market. But we're a strong challenger.
All right. Do you see that you will do merger and acquisitions in the future, and what can investor expect on that field?
So Joppe touched well on the main competitors and the main players, but if you break down the HVAC markets, it's quite varied by geography actually. So the standards in one country is slightly different, the brands are slightly different. So when you break it down to a more granular level than what John Peter was introducing, I think it's actually quite a fragmented market. And there are plenty of opportunities for us to make combinations with other products. We can go forward in the value chain, we could go backward in the value chain. So yes.
Yes, our ambition is to pursue M&A as a way of actually accelerating our strategic execution.
Yes.
Yeah.
What are your main competitors and where are they better at the moment than you are?
Well, I would say that if we look on the radiator side, I don't think there is anybody better than we are. But we could mention companies like Stelrad. We can mention companies like Arbonia. We can mention companies like Elgin Can, and so forth, right?
Yes.
So, but we have the highest market share and a little bit more concentrated on the supply side. On the other side, look at the indoor climate systems and so on. More fragmented, there are more players there. And to mention a few names, you have companies like Uponor that you know well, probably. Yes. You have companies like Roth, you have companies like Rehau, and of course, that's where we play.
All right. Then let's get into the strategy. Like you said first, at the beginning, you were a small Finnish company, but now you are a big international company. Tell about more details about the strategy. What should investor know about that?
Well, I think that the important thing to know is that, and let us look at some mega trends as a backdrop to where we operate and the world we live in. First thing is that, the planet drives every agenda today. It doesn't matter in what business you are, what you do, and what type of organization. The planet drives every agenda. The second point, which you mentioned, is that people, on the back of a pandemic and everything, we see that people are rethinking, repurposing the way they think about their homes and buildings. But the third point that is massively interesting and important is that 26% of all energy that is being consumed every day is actually being consumed in our homes. 64% of that is to heat and cool. Can you imagine? 64% of the 26%. And that gives us a magic number of 17%. So 17% of all energy in our world, Europe in this case, is actually to heat and cool our homes. And the point being that we cannot continue to live like we do. We need to reduce the energy needs for how we heat and cool. And this is where we are at the center. And our strategy then is addressing this opportunity at the heart of our strategy.
So you have a lot of opportunities to grow in the future.
That is our plan, and that is our ambition and aspiration, yes.
Yes. Then let's get into the financial and your targets. Give some details about your financial performance and financial targets at the moment.
Yeah, so we had in 2020 and 2021 we had a strong financial performance. So we were able to have very resilient top-line development in 2020, where we dropped only 4 percentage points in the COVID year. And we're actually able to expand EBITDA margin by close to 3 percentage points. And this was thanks to strong efforts by management to contain costs during the crisis. And there were also favorable raw material prices, which typically happens in a downward cycle, so it gives us some protection. And in 2021, we actually continued to expand the margins. If you look at the H1 in 19, 20 and 21, that's gradually gone up. And this year what we're doing is that we're replacing the temporary savings we enjoyed in 2020 with permanent savings. We actually took on a quite ambitious cost and commercial excellence program in 2020 to help us achieve this. And this is largely implemented.
Do you see upside potential what comes to your profit margin in the long-term future?
In the long term, for sure. However, in the short term, we expect some pressure in the second half of this year, where the steep increase in raw material prices will have a slight pressure on our margins. And also compared to last year when we had a favorable raw material prices, actually the cost differential to last year is quite material.
Yes.
But overall, we expect this year to grow profit from the already good levels last year, and we guide above 90 million euro adjusted EBITDA in 2021.
All right. Then, John Peter, some vision. Where is Purmo if we take look at 5 years or 10 years? Where do you want to be?
Well, I think we're going to be a significantly bigger company. And very importantly, that is the point in time when you ask all our customers, they're going to tell us that, yes, Purmo Group, you are number one. You are the leader in sustainable indoor climate systems. And at the end of the day, we can have a lot of views about how good we are, but at the end, there's only one who can tell us how good we are, and that is the customer.
Yes. Final question. Do you see that something changes when you are a public company instead of private-owned family company? Is there something that's going to change?
Well, I mean, the benefit, first of all, we're very excited about this that has been announced. So becoming now a stock-listed company, we believe is really good for us. And there are 3 reasons for that. The first one is that we will be broadening and widening our ownership. Earlier, yesterday, we had one big owner. Already now we have thousands of owners, and we just hope they're going to be more and more, right? And also we wanted to add that we would love, we're 3,216 people in our company. We would love all of these people to be shareholders in our company. We all want to be part of this. That's number one. Number two is that we will have access to capital markets. We will have access to capital markets that will help us pursue our strategy. And the third point, why we believe this is good, is that we will be more known. We will be known by partners, we will be known by customers, we will be known by people that want to work for Purmo Group as well. So those are the 3 points why we think it's good to be stock listed.
Yes. Do you have something to add, Erik?
Well, I think those are the most important points, but maybe perhaps as CFO, I'd also like to add that the disclosure and transparency that the stock market brings, actually, I think it's just a part of the sustainability theme in our business. We want to be transparent with the results. We're proud of when we're profitable. We fight harder when we're not. And I think the disclosure and openness to all our key stakeholders allows us to have better collaboration with customers and suppliers. And also, I think, quite frankly, that the stock listing requirements will make us become a better business, a more fit business. So I think that is also very helpful.
Thanks for the interview, you both.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.